India's voice to the world. I'm Preeti Kaur. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi shares his thoughts in the last Mann Ki Baat edition of 2023. Says country imbued with spirit of Viksit Bharat, self-reliance, need to continue India's momentum in 2024. ISRO set to launch ExpoSat and 10 other payloads on January 1st. 25 hours countdown for PSLV ExpoSat New Year Day mission begins. Russia says 20 dead after Ukrainian strikes on the Russian provincial capital of Belgorod. Russia vows response. UN Security Council addresses civilian toll from Ukrainian and Russian strikes. An Indian women's team falls narrowly short in close encounter despite valiant effort from Richa Ghosh as Australian women register thrilling 3-run win in the second ODI to seal the series 2-0. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed the 108th edition of the much-awaited Mann Ki Baat, a monthly radio program, on Sunday. During his address, the Prime Minister said that every corner of Bharat is full of confidence, self-confidence.
आज भारत का कोना-कोना आत्मविश्वास से भरा हुआ है। विकसित भारत की भावना से, आत्मनिर्भरता की भावना से ओत-प्रोत है। 2024 में भी हमें इसी भावना और मोमेंटम को बनाए रखना है। दिवाली पर रिकॉर्ड कारोबार ने ये साबित किया कि हर भारतीय वोकल फॉर लोकल के मंत्र को महत्व दे रहा है।
That is, ISRO is set to launch another PSLV or Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. C-58 ExpoSat mission is scheduled to be launched from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota on 1st January, that is tomorrow. The PSLV will launch ExpoSat satellite and 10 more payloads. ISRO says this will be India's first dedicated polarimetry mission to study the dynamics of bright astronomical X-ray sources in extreme conditions. 25 hours countdown has already begun. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the newly built Ayodhya Airport on Saturday. Besides the airport, the Prime Minister also inaugurated the redeveloped Ayodhya railway station and several other development projects. Here's a detailed report.
Saturday was a big day for the North Indian city of Ayodhya, the land of Lord Ram. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi landed in the holy city and dedicated development projects worth billions of dollars to the nation. On arrival, Prime Minister Modi received a grand welcome in Ayodhya. He held a mega roadshow and people showered flower petals on his cavalcade. Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the newly built Maharishi Valmiki International Airport in Ayodhya. The airport is equipped to serve about 1 million passengers annually. The interiors of the terminal building are decorated with local art, paintings and murals depicting the life of Lord Ram. The facade of the terminal building depicts the architecture of the upcoming Ram temple in the city. The airport is named after Maharishi Valmiki, who wrote the epic Ramayana. The government of India says the airport will not just improve connectivity to the region, but also boost tourism, business activities and employment opportunities. Ayodhya also got its railway station revamped with modern facilities. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the redeveloped Ayodhya railway station, renamed as Ayodhya Dham Junction, in the temple town. The 3-story modern railway station building is equipped with all modern facilities like lifts, escalators, food plazas, cloakrooms, childcare rooms and waiting halls. Prime Minister Modi also flagged off 8 new trains on this occasion. These include 2 new Amrit Bharat trains and 6 new Vande Bharat trains. Before flagging off, Prime Minister Modi interacted with students on board the Amrit Bharat train in Ayodhya. He also interacted with passengers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also addressed a public meeting in Ayodhya. He called for reviving the ancient glory of Ayodhya with a touch of modernity.
आज के भारत का मिजाज यहां अयोध्या में स्पष्ट दिखता है। आज यहां प्रगति का उत्सव है तो कुछ दिन बाद यहां परंपरा का उत्सव भी होगा। आज यहां विकास की भव्यता दिख रही है तो कुछ दिनों बाद यहां विरासत की भव्यता और दिव्यता दिखने वाली है। यही तो भारत है। विकास और विरासत की यही साझा ताकत भारत को 21वीं सदी में सबसे आगे ले जाएगी।
Prime Minister's one-day tour to Ayodhya gave this city an invaluable gift of many connectivity infrastructure projects. These projects will help people and pilgrims come to Ayodhya rather easily and make their journey comfortable. But what he said later on was equally important. Prime Minister gave a clarion call to the people of Ayodhya to maintain cleanliness so that the pilgrims who come here will have a memorable and unforgettable stay.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the city comes weeks before the consecration ceremony of the Ram Temple on January 22. With Ravi Dhiman's input from Ayodhya, Abhishek Bose for DD India.
Amid the excitement to bid goodbye to year 2023 on Sunday, India's national capital Delhi's police has issued an advisory to ease overcrowding on the New Year's Eve. According to the advisory issued, exits from Rajiv Chowk metro station will not be allowed from 9 p.m. onwards on 31st December. Entry of passengers will be allowed till the departure of last train from Rajiv Chowk metro station. Commuters are requested to plan their journey accordingly. Metro services on the rest of the metro network will continue to remain available as per the regular timetable. Delhi police also conducted a vehicle check in various areas of the Indian national capital ahead of New Year celebrations on Saturday. Security is heightened this time of the year with barricades put up in strategic areas as well. Dense fog will blanket many parts of India in the coming days. Very dense fog conditions will also prevail in parts of Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh from 30th December to 4th January. Red alert has been issued again for Delhi, Haryana, Chandigarh and Punjab. Dense fog conditions are very likely to prevail for few hours in states of Odisha, Bihar, Assam, Meghalaya, Mizoram and Tripura from 31st December to 2nd January. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will attend the 21st convocation of the Tezpur University in northeastern state of Assam today. He will confer degrees and diplomas to the successful candidates of the university. 783 postgraduate degrees, 428 undergraduate degrees, 5 PG diplomas and more than 100 PhD degrees are expected to be conferred. Tezpur University is a central university located near the Assam-Arunachal Pradesh interstate border. Apart from its academic routine, the university is also involved in training Indian Army personnel. India's Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Anurag Singh Thakur, on Saturday launched the official Government of India calendar for the year 2024 in the national capital. The theme of the calendar is Hamara Sankalp Viksit Bharat. Each month of the calendar holds specific themes reflecting the government's achievements and contribution to India's development in the last 10 years.
तारीखें बदलती गई, महीने बीतते गए, कैलेंडर पर साल नए चढ़ते गए, पर जो बदला नहीं वह सेवा का हमारा भाव, दागदार भ्रष्टाचार मुक्त सरकार का दावा, गरीब कल्याण की प्रतिज्ञा, विकसित भारत के निर्माण का संकल्प। तभी तो देश आज एक स्वर में बोलता है, भरोसा बरकरार, मोदी सरकार।
The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra program, organized by the Government of India, is continuing in the city of Anantapur in the southern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. It aims to provide central government schemes and its information to everyone in the country. On this occasion, the locals were informed about the various schemes and their application process via short films. After taking oath of the program, the calendar related to the program was unveiled. The beneficiaries of various schemes also shared their experiences under Meri Kahani, Meri Zubani. The governor of the northeastern state of India, Arunachal Pradesh, visited the border post at Pangsau Pass along the Indo-Myanmar border and interacted with security forces posted there. He also asked them to reach out to the local people and cultivate and strengthen goodwill among the villagers. The governor urged them to facilitate in registering all eligible beneficiaries of various welfare schemes in their respective areas before the ensuing Republic Day. He also administered the Viksit Bharat Sankalp pledge to the people and exhorted them to actively participate and contribute towards Viksit Bharat vision of Prime Minister Modi. Tourists and residents flocked India's Puducherry ahead of New Year's Eve. Security was also heightened as police conducted checks in hotels and other areas to ensure safety. The popular destination sees people from across the world gather and welcome the New Year. And people from around India share what their resolutions are for the new year.
I think there is some positive outlook around India, and India is growing very rapidly. So, like, looking forward to 2024, and I hope that it's a prosperous year for all of our citizens. And I wish you all a very happy New Year.
My New Year resolutions are to work on myself, obviously, to be a better person, to help your neighbor, to spread love at home first, to forgive people. Forgiveness is very important. And yes, health is also very important. So I'm a gym-going person, and this New Year I strive to work even more harder at the gym because health is wealth.
And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines today from India. At least 6 people were killed after a massive fire broke out at a hand glove manufacturing company in Sambhaji Nagar of Indian state of Maharashtra. The fire department said the blaze erupted around 2:15 a.m. at the factory. India has recorded 4,309 active COVID cases in the country. 841 new cases have been reported in the last 24 hours, while 3 people have lost their lives. The Indian Border Security Force in northeastern state of Meghalaya successfully intercepted a cattle smuggling operation along the international border with Bangladesh. The rescued cattle were destined for illegal transport into Bangladesh. And up your screens, we get you some beautiful visuals of the last sunrise of the year 2023 from Guwahati, Assam, as the country prepares to welcome the new year. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on this edition of DD India Live. Ending a 2-month trial, 3 Washington police officers have been found not guilty in the 2020 killing of Manuel Elise, a 33-year-old black man. Stay with us to see how Rio de Janeiro is gearing up to usher in the new year. And Cristiano Ronaldo scores his 54th goal of the calendar year as Al Nassr thrashes Al Tawoun 4-1 in the Saudi Pro League.
As we ready to ring in the new year, 2023 will go down in history as having signaled to the world a more confident, a more assertive India that seeks to leverage its growing clout to push for a more inclusive, a more even world order. We take a look at India's journey in 2023 as it took center stage on the global rostrum.
Watch India at the global center stage at these times, only on DD India.
As we ready to ring in the new year, 2023 will go down in history as having signaled to the world a more confident, a more assertive India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India Live. Let's get you more international updates. Russia has accused Ukraine of deadly airstrikes on the Russian provincial capital of Belgorod on Saturday. Russia said 20 people, including 2 children, had been killed and 111 were injured in indiscriminate strikes, and it vowed to retaliate. Taking to a social media post, regional governor urged all the residents to move to air raid shelters as sirens sounded around the city. The Belgorod region had suffered shelling and drone attacks all year that authorities have blamed on Ukraine. An urgent meeting of the UN Security Council in New York was held on Saturday at Russia's request. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky during his evening address said that more than 120 settlements had been affected in these strikes, and also that they are preparing to produce more weapons next year.
We are preparing to produce more weapons next year. We already have a clear schedule for our international work in January. We are working with our partners on solutions that every Ukrainian soldier, our entire nation and our state needs. And these solutions will be strong.
UN Security Council has addressed civilian toll from Ukrainian and Russian strikes. During the meeting, Assistant Secretary General Khalid Khiari said that attacks on Belgorod city center reportedly resulted in damage to civilian infrastructure, including the regional government office and the Medical College of Belgorod State University. At the same time, he said Ukrainian authorities reported new overnight Russian drone attacks targeting the Kherson region.
During the Russian Federation's large-scale attack on Ukraine yesterday, which at the last count killed at least 39 Ukrainian civilians, has further escalated overnight. According to the Russian authorities, as a result of Ukrainian missile and rocket strikes on the city of Belgorod, which lies 30 kilometers from the Ukrainian border, at least 18 civilians, including 2 children, were reportedly killed. At least 100 others, including 15 children, were reportedly injured.
In an interview to RIS news agency, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said that courts have sentenced more than 200 Ukrainian fighters to prison terms since Moscow started its military operation in Ukraine. Both sides have been accusing each other of various attacks during the conflict. Lavrov also said that Russia's investigative committee has initiated 4,000 criminal cases against about 900 Ukrainian individuals, of which some have been put on international wanted list. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Saturday that the border zone between Gaza and Egypt should be under Israel's control, as he predicted the conflict in the Palestinian enclave and on other regional fronts would last many more months.
The Philadelphia corridor, or to put it more correctly, the southern stoppage point must be in our hands. It must be shut. It's clear that any other arrangement would not ensure the demilitarization that we see. The war is at its height. We are fighting on all of the fronts. We have huge success, but we also have a painful cases.
The United States shot down 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles launched by Houthi rebels, responding to a call by a merchant vessel in the southern Red Sea. U.S. Central Command said in a post on X, a Singapore-flagged, Denmark-owned and operated container ship reported that it was struck by a missile, and the USS Gravely and USS Laboon responded to the ship. While responding, CENTCOM added that there were no reported injuries. The vessel is the U.S. Navy destroyer Gravely, shot down 2 anti-ship ballistic missiles fired from Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. Three Washington police officers have been found not guilty in the 2020 killing of Manuel Ellis, a 33-year-old black man. Officers were found not guilty of murder and manslaughter charges following a trial that lasted more than 2 months. Defense lawyers for the officers said the police stopped Ellis because he was approaching a car turning at an intersection. Prosecution witnesses testified that the officers were the aggressors and attacked Ellis unprovokedly while he was standing on the sidewalk, and that they did not see Ellis fighting back. Ellis's killing occurred weeks before George Floyd's murder at the hands of Minneapolis police set off months of protests around the world over racial injustice and police brutality. North Korea plans to launch 3 more spy satellites and build military drones in 2024 as part of efforts to ramp up its military. The task of launching 3 additional reconnaissance satellites in 2024 was declared as one of the key policy decisions for 2024 at a year-end meeting presided by leader Kim Jong-un. In his address to the meeting, Kim said that the country has no choice but to press forward with his nuclear ambitions and forge deeper ties with anti-US countries. Kim lashed out at Washington, wrapping up 5 days of ruling party meetings that set economic, military and foreign policy goals for the coming year. Kim's speech comes ahead of a year that will see pivotal elections in both South Korea and the United States. China's government criticized Taiwan's Vice President Lai Ching-te, frontrunner for Taiwan's next presidential post, for his controversial remarks on Taiwan's sovereignty and independence. China's government called the frontrunner for Taiwan's next president as confrontational and destroyer of peace after he spoke at a presidential debate and said that the island's sovereignty and independence belong to its people. The January 13 presidential and parliamentary elections are happening at a time of fraught relations between Beijing and Taipei. Lai from the ruling Democratic Party is leading in opinion polls. Lai's opponent in the election, Hu Yu-hee, denounced him as an independence supporter. Ecuador has reached an agreement with an indigenous community in the Orellana province to end a blockade of oil projects in the area. The Guarani Comino community's protests caused the state-run oil firm Petroecuador to declare a force majeure on the operations on Friday. The protests affected the site's output beginning on Monday and prevented access to the Ishpingo oil field in Orellana. The protests in Orellana had cut oil output at Ishpingo by about 17,000 barrels per day. Spain rescued dozens of stranded migrants off Canary Islands and took them to Arguinan port in the Gran Canaria island. The group of 57 men received medical attention and red blankets at the port. More than 37,000 migrants have reached the Canary Island from West Africa by fragile boats by December 15th. Red Cross said on Saturday almost 40,000 migrants reached the Spanish islands in 2023. The archipelago, which lies around 60 miles off Africa's west coast, had its previous peak in 2006 when 31,678 migrants arrived as other routes to Europe were blocked off. Mexico's government has restarted repatriation flights of Venezuelans 2 days after officials agreed to work more closely with their U.S. counterparts to tackle record migration at their shared border. Earlier this week, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited Mexico to hold high-level talks on migration and other issues. The talks came after the U.S. government temporarily shuttered some border crossings to redeploy agents towards enforcement. In a statement, the Mexican Foreign Ministry said it was agreed to restart the coordinated mechanism of repatriation flights for the Venezuelans. It said the 2 flights had departed from Mexico on Friday and Saturday. Meanwhile, U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas said on social media that the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement had also repatriated Venezuelans this week. Thousands gathered in central Belgrade in the biggest protest yet over the results of parliamentary and municipal elections on December 17th. Supporters of Serbia's opposition gathered for a protest demanding elections earlier this month be annulled and new ones held due to their allegations the ruling party won by fraud. One of the leaders of the opposition, Marinika Tepic, addressed the crowd saying the election should be annulled before the protests began marching through the capital. Serbia Against Violence, which is placed second in the general election, has accused the ruling Serbian Progressive Party of widespread vote fraud, which the authorities deny. Full results of the elections are not likely to be published until sometime next month. The three-country coalition of prime ministers of Niger pledged to work together for a common future in an alliance that marks a sharp break from the three countries' coup since their formation as juntas. The premier spoke in front of thousands of people who had gathered to celebrate the complete withdrawal of French forces from Niger. The three countries have declared their independence from both France and Economic Community of West African States, that is ECOWAS, and have joined forces to form a new union called the Alliance of the Sahel States. Eurostar trains to and from London and Paris were cancelled after a tunnel under River Thames was flooded due to persistent rain, stranding thousands of passengers ahead of New Year's Eve. Eurostar has announced the cancellation of a total of 41 train services and has issued an apology to passengers for inconvenience caused to their travel plans. Eurostar trains operating between Paris, Brussels and London will resume service today. Also, Eurostar stated in its announcement that the flood has been brought under control, which means that the services can be resumed as quickly as possible. In sports, Australia eked out a 3-run win over India in the second women's ODI to take an unassailable 2-0 lead in the 3-match series in Mumbai on Saturday. Opting to bat, the tourists rallied to post 258 for 8 on the back of opener Phoebe Litchfield's 63 and Elise Perry's 50, despite Deepti Sharma's 5-wicket haul. In reply, Richa Ghosh scored a valiant 96, but the Australians tightened the screws to limit India to 255 for 8. Annabelle Sutherland snared 3 wickets for Australia. All right, that's it in this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X and also Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off. And from all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.
debate